You'd rather spend 3 hours figuring something out alone than ask someone for 5 minutes of help. And when you finally do ask, you apologize like crazy or immediately say, "Never mind." Sound familiar? This isn't just stubbornness. If you grew up in the 70s, 80s, or early 90s, there's a psychological reason you're wired this way, and it starts with a key hanging around your neck. I'm talking about the Latchkey generation. Gen X, the kids who came home to empty houses, made their own snacks and figured out homework without anyone checking. You learned early that asking for help wasn't really an option because there was nobody there to ask. Here's the thing though, that independence you're so proud of, it came with a cost, and you're still paying it. Let's talk about what actually happens in your brain when someone offers help, because I bet when a coworker says, "Need a hand with," that your first instinct is to say no, even when you're drowning. You feel this weird mix of guilt and shame, like accepting help means you failed somehow, like you should have been able to handle it yourself. This goes deeper than just being independent. Way deeper. Picture this. You're 8 years old. You come home from school and the house is empty. Your parents won't be back for another 3 hours. You're hungry, so you make yourself a sandwich. You have homework, so you do it at the kitchen table. You skin your knee playing outside, so you wash it and put on a Band-Aid yourself. Nobody taught you these things step by step. You just figured it out because you had to. Now here's what's happening psychologically. Your developing brain is learning a critical lesson about survival. It's learning that you are alone in solving your problems. That help isn't coming. That the only reliable person in your world is you. Child psychologists call this self-reliance under duress. It's not the healthy kind of independence that comes from parents gradually teaching you skills and then stepping back. It's independence born from necessity, from abandonment, even if that abandonment wasn't intentional. Your parents weren't neglectful. They were working. Both of them, probably, because that's what the economy demanded. They trusted you to be okay, alone, and you were okay. You survived. You became capable and resourceful. While you were learning to be independent, you were also learning something else. You were learning that needing help equals being a burden, that your needs are inconvenient, that you should minimize them, manage them yourself, never impose them on anyone else. Think about it. When you needed something as a kid and your parents weren't there, what happened? Nothing. You either figured it out or you didn't. There was no reward for asking because there was nobody to ask. So your brain stopped categorizing asking for help as a viable strategy, and it gets worse. On the rare occasions when you did ask for help, what happened? Maybe your parent was stressed from work and snapped at you. Maybe they were too tired to deal with it. Maybe they made you feel like you should have handled it yourself. So asking for help became associated with negative outcomes. Rejection, frustration, disappointment. Fast forward to now. You're an adult, you're competent and successful. People admire your independence, but inside, you're still that kid who learned that the only person you can truly count on is yourself. This shows up everywhere. At work, you take on way too much rather than delegate. In relationships, you struggle to be vulnerable or admit you need support. When you're sick, you still try to push through instead of asking someone to help. You watch other people ask for things casually, without all this internal drama, and you wonder what that must be like. Here's the psychological mechanism at play. Your brain has created what's called a maladaptive schema. That's basically a mental framework or belief system that formed in childhood and now operates automatically in adulthood. Your schema says asking for help is dangerous. It means weakness, burden, rejection, failure. Even when logically you know that's not true, your nervous system doesn't believe it. When you think about asking for help, your body goes into a stress response. Your heart rate increases. You feel anxious. Your brain is literally treating the idea of asking for help as a threat to your survival. Because back when you were a kid, it kind of was. Not asking for help, being self-sufficient, that's what kept you safe. That's what earned you the label of being mature for your age, responsible, capable. Those were the qualities that got praised. Needing things, that was weakness. There's another layer too. Many Gen X kids witness their parents struggling, financially, emotionally, with their own problems. You learned not just that help wasn't available, but that asking would add to their burden. You became emotionally self-sufficient because you couldn't bear to add one more thing to their plate, so you learned to minimize your needs, to make yourself smaller, to never be too much. This is called parentification, by the way. It's when kids take on adult responsibilities or emotional roles too early. You might have comforted your mom when she was stressed, taken care of younger siblings, managed household tasks. You became the helper, not the one who gets helped. And here's the really messed up part. You got good at it. You got praised for it. Being independent became part of your identity. So now, asking for help doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It feels like betraying who you are. But here's what you need to understand. That identity was forced on you. You didn't choose to be independent at age 7 or 8 or 10. You adapted to survive your circumstances. And that adaptation, while impressive and useful in many ways, is now limiting you. Because here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. Humans are not meant to be completely sufficient. We're social creatures. We're wired for interdependence. Every major achievement in human history happened because people worked together, asked for help, shared resources and knowledge. The most successful people, the healthiest people, the happiest people, they're not the ones who do everything alone. They're the ones who've learned to build support systems, to ask for what they need, to accept help without shame. So what do you do about this? How do you rewire a pattern that's been running for 30, 40, 50 years? First, you need to recognize that asking for help is not a character flaw. It's a skill. And like any skill, it can be learned. Start small. Ask for something tiny. Ask a coworker to grab you a coffee when they're getting one. Ask your partner to pick something up from the store. Ask a friend for a book recommendation. Notice what happens in your body when you do this. Notice the anxiety, the urge to take it back, the need to over-explain or apologize. Don't fight those feelings. Just observe them. Recognize that's your old programming kicking in. Second, practice receiving help without immediately reciprocating. This is huge. When someone helps you, your instinct is probably to immediately find a way to pay them back, right? To make it even, to not owe them anything. But that's still the same pattern. That's still you trying to maintain complete independence. Try just saying thank you. That's it. No apologies, no explanations, no immediate favors in return. Just accept the help as a gift. Let yourself be supported without turning it into a transaction. Third, reframe what asking for help means. It's not weakness, it's trust. When you ask someone for help, you're actually giving them a gift. You're showing them you value their knowledge, their skills, their presence in your life. You're allowing them to feel useful and needed. Most people want to help. It makes them feel good. And fourth, start building genuine reciprocal relationships. Not transactional ones where you keep score, but real interdependence. Where sometimes you help, sometimes you receive help, and it all balances out naturally over time. This is how healthy relationships work. Look, I get it. Changing this pattern is hard. It feels vulnerable and uncomfortable and wrong. Your whole nervous system is going to resist it. But you know what's harder? Going through life pretending you don't need anyone, burning out because you're carrying everything yourself, missing out on deeper connections because you won't let anyone in. You survived your childhood by being independent. But you don't have to keep surviving. You can actually live. And living means letting people help you sometimes. If this hit home, subscribe for more psychology. That makes sense.